Welcome, Marisol. Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about a very important issue about violence against women and girls. You have worked for Caritas for 17 years now. Can you tell us a little bit about your work with Caritas?
Thank you so much, Christina, for this opportunity and to tackle this important and serious subject about violence against women and girls. I have had the great opportunity to work for Caritas for the last 17 years, mainly in Asia and some countries in Asia, India, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, and Nepal, and the Philippines, and lately in Africa, mainly in Uganda and South Sudan. And I joined recently the emergency unit of Caritas Internationale since May this year.
Okay, thank you. And it's so fantastic to have you here in Rome, especially with your experience. So when we talk about violence against women and girls, what do we mean by that exactly?
When we talk about violence against women and girls, we refer to a term that is affecting in physical, sexual, and emotional way women and girls, and it can be expressed by forms through coercions, deprivation of liberties, and threats.
So, continue.
Anyone can be subject to violence, also men and boys. But unfortunately, according to the statistics, those who are more at risk of violence are women and girls.
Why is this issue of violence against women an important subject for Caritas?
Because Caritas' mission is to serve, to accompany, and to defend the most vulnerable, those who are exposed at risk, those who are in situation of conflict, those who are exposed to war, those who are victims of natural disasters. That's why it's a very important issue for Caritas, because violence against women and girls aggravates the situation of poverty for women and for the society itself. And Caritas wants to tackle also this problem because we believe that in a community of justice for and equal opportunities for men and women.
So Marisol, can you give us some examples of the root causes as well as the context in which violence against women and girls occurs? And also, what are the consequences of this act and form of violence?
Yes. The root causes of violence against women and girls, first of all, is the imbalance of powers. In some societies, it's simply not possible for women and girls to have the same rights as the other citizens. And then we have the gender inequalities, like to have access to basic service like health and education is simply not possible in some countries like Afghanistan. And then we have disregard for human rights. For example, when rape is used as a war weapon, it has been the case in the Democratic Republic of Congo and recently also in Ukraine. The consequences for women and girls are at three levels. At the physical health issues, they are injured, they can get sexual transmissible diseases, they can get HIV, unwanted pregnancies, and they can even die as a consequence of violence. There are also consequences at the emotional level for the psychosocial well-being. They feel guilty, they self-blame, and they also could go to suicide. And at the socioeconomic level, they are stigmatized, sometimes rejected by the communities, and they are in a vicious of marginalization and poverty.
So what is Caritas as a confederation doing to tackle this problem?
Caritas as confederation is present in more than 160 countries. And we are working not only in emergency projects, we are also working on development projects. And the first thing we do is awareness, is sensitize the communities to this big and serious problem. Then we do advocacy with the local structures, the local governments, and also at the national level. We provide psychosocial support for the victims. For instance, sometimes the local partners, they have a space where women can gather and they can share their traumatic experience. For instance, singing songs and telling their stories in a way of healing, and also empowering women who have been through the same problems and accompanying them to heal the trauma. Also providing sometimes cash to access health care, to go to a health center. Sometimes the health centers are far away from where they live. And an important component is the socioeconomic reintegration for these women and girls. Caritas also provides basic skills training, professional trainings, financial literacy.
Thank you so much, Marisol, for joining us and talking and shedding more light on this issue and this problem of violence against women and girls. Thank you again for all your work and for joining us today.
Thank you for this opportunity, Christina.